CX teams that collaborate cross-functionally are 27% more likely to have a high or very high return on investment. This is why it's important. It's not just about making people feel good and aligned. This actually produces real business results for your organization. If this is the promise we've made, how do we actually deliver on it for our people? And how do we actually give our employees the right tools, goals, understanding, accountability around it so that it feels real? So that it's something that we're all working towards, not just something that we're talking about. We need to leverage tools.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Better Works Podcast, People Fundamentals. I'm your host, Alex Lerald, Senior Director of Corporate Marketing. Better Works' core belief in people fundamentals revolves around helping HR lead through constant change by focusing on core values like fairness, support, balance, and enabling growth opportunities for employees. These tenets empower everyone in the workforce to strive for excellence, to foster creativity, and to acknowledge each other's contributions. Better Works believes that strategic HR leaders can translate these principles into action, shaping their workforce for the better, and helping drive meaningful business outcomes. And in this show, we're diving even deeper into these principles as we hear from the experts about how you can make them come alive in your organization. In this episode, adapted from a webinar in our People Fundamentals series, we hear from Jeannie Walters, a certified customer experience professional and founder of Experience Investigators. Jeannie is recognized for thought leadership in customer experience and for pioneering the shift from reactive customer service to proactive customer experience. In today's business landscape, it's easy to get caught up in processes and tactics without pausing to consider the underlying purpose. But neglecting the why means missing significant opportunities to engage with both business outcomes and the meaningful impact we have on the world. Jeannie's mission is clear and straightforward: to create fewer ruined days for customers. But how do we get there? To accomplish this, she emphasizes that every employee plays a crucial role in fulfilling this mission. In this discussion, she explores the most important aspects of customer and employee experience and their vital connections to each other. She offers proactive strategies to improve these experiences, highlighting the significance of intentionality and cohesion. And she provides real-world examples to illustrate the principles and strategies she discusses. So join us as we discover how to drive meaningful impact and create a better world for employees, customers, and communities alike. Jeannie begins by discussing a critical element of business often overlooked: the connection between the why, the customer experience, and every individual's role within the organization.
When we are taught about business, when we are taught about leading organizations, a lot of times we start with process first. We start with tactics first. We're told things like, you know what, we need to get our processes in order to get to that next stage. But if we don't take a minute to step back and really look at the why are we doing this in the first place? Who are we really delivering for? How can we make it better for everyone? Then we miss huge opportunities to engage not just with business results and with process, but with this spectacular thing that we all do for the world. The mission of my organization is to create fewer ruined days for customers. And the reason that's our mission is because I really believe that makes a better world. We've all had those days. We've all had those days where we have to call somebody back who promised to call us and, they never did. We all have those days where we are looking for opportunities to, achieve a goal or feel a certain way. That is provided by the employees who not only work right in front of us delivering that service, but every single employee in our organization has something to do with this. I think that most of us here would acknowledge that, every single employee in our organization probably doesn't understand that connection to the customer experience. So instead, what happens is they believe that it's something that the customer service people do, the frontline people do. I've spoken to groups, different organizations all over, and I cannot tell you how many times I have somebody come up to me afterwards and say, I'm in distribution I'm in invoicing. I'm in HR. I've never thought about how my role connects to the customer experience because they don't think it applies to them because we don't really talk about it. We don't connect the dots. What we're going to talk about is customer experience, what that is, what we can do about it, employee experience, how that fits into all of this, and what happens when you have alignment or misalignment between the two. What I want to talk about today is how do we elevate everyone? Because every single person in the organization, every single customer we serve, that's an individual human being. And I can already hear some of you say, well, we're B2B, right? You don't understand. We're business to business. So our customers are businesses. I would push against that a little bit because within those businesses, there are individuals making decisions. The robots have not taken over yet. Every single decision that is made within an organization is based on individual people who are deciding, is this right for us? So when we're serving customers, we have to think about how are we serving that one customer with that one employee?
In the realm of customer and employee experience, the journey doesn't just begin at the point of interaction. It exists both before and after that engagement.
Whenever we talk about customer experience and employee experience, we're talking about way before it actually starts. And then it doesn't end when they walk out the door. It ends after that, because after that is when they're telling other people, you know what? I love this brand. I think you should shop here. Or I really enjoy working here. I think you should apply for a job. I might not be there anymore, but they were great, right? So when we think about this, it can become kind of overwhelming because in a way, customer experience is universal. We have to provide the same experience for all different customers. But at the end of the day, experience as a thing is very individual. It's individual because if we are not being intentional and proactive about it, then what happens is we're expecting every single individual to make a judgment call. Sometimes when I talk about the work I do, I hear feedback from people, especially, I sit down next to somebody on a plane and they say, what do you do? And I'll explain customer experience a little bit. And 9 times out of 10, they say something like, well, yeah, we really need better customer service. And, it's really common sense. So they're conflating customer service. They're saying this is the only thing that matters. And they're saying, well, everybody should know how to do this, right? Same thing with employee experience. We often say, well, managers should just know how to coach people. Managers should just understand what it means to set clear goals. But what we're doing then is we're asking every single individual to make a judgment call. I want you to think about any relationship in your life. It takes 12 positive experiences to overcome one negative experience. Think about that for a second. We all have relationships where we know we have friends we can rely on. We have partners who help us get through the world when we need to. And we all have those people where we go, oh, yeah, I can't call them, right? They're unreliable. What that tells us is that they have not shown up in a positive way enough times. When something negative happens, it naturally erodes trust. What we need to do is have enough positive moments in the emotional bank so that when things happen, we can overcome those negative moments. When we ask people to just use common sense, we are missing opportunities to really define what experience looks like and what we're expecting from each individual.
Jeannie shares a personal anecdote that highlights the power of customer service and ethical decision-making about a local pharmacy she frequents. Their actions show the impact of considering long-term customer satisfaction over short-term gains.
There is a small local independent pharmacy in my town, Oak Park, Illinois, called Sears Pharmacy. And my family, like many families, we have a son with a tree nut allergy. Now, you might recall a couple of years ago, EpiPens, which are life-saving, and we need to have several. We need to have one in the backpack and one in the downstairs and one on the soccer bag and all of that. A couple of years ago, EpiPen prices went way, way up. They were more than $1,000 in many cases for each pen. So we've gone to Sears for a long time. We put in our order because they also expire. So you need to do this every year. And I got a call from somebody at Sears Pharmacy. And they said, we know this pricing is ridiculous. We're mad about it. CVS has a special offer right now. We're going to transfer your prescription over to them and send you a coupon so that you understand what is actually happening. So that we understand what's actually happening so that you can go get this important prescription for your family. Now, that meant a loss of revenue for them short term. But think about what that took inside that small organization. They made a conscious decision to do what's right, and they empowered their employees to do that in such a powerful way. So when we talk about things like customer experience, when we talk about being proactive and intentional, this is what it means. It means that, yes, they lost a short-term sale, but they gained a lifetime customer.
The return on this investment isn't as hard to measure as people often fear.
Proactive, positive customer experience actually prevents service issues. So sometimes I get asked the question of, well, how do you invest in this? How do you make sure that you get a return on this investment? This is how. If we can reduce service costs, if we can reduce the tasks that our employees are working on to solve problems by preventing the problems in the first place, that's proactive customer experience. And this all comes down to both alignment and acumen with our employees. What I have seen a lot is that we have great big promises for customers. We have maybe a brand that's very well known. And then when you actually talk to employees, they say, yeah, it's a little funny that's our brand because I don't feel that in the organization. And one example that comes to mind is an organization I was working with where their promise to customers was to be quick. They were going to respond quickly. They were going to get products quickly. Everything about it was fast. And yet within the organization, there was a culture where if you called me for something, if you reached out across the organization for help, I may or may not get back to you because that's not on my major responsibility list. That's not how I'm evaluated. So we have to look across the organization at how do we have this alignment between employee experience and customer experience? And then also, how do we give people the acumen to do it well every time? Because if not, again, we're asking for everybody to just make their own individual judgment calls based on very loose ideas. This is the one I hear a lot. So somebody gets up there, maybe a leader at a town hall, and they say, we're going to be customer-centric, everyone. So get ready. Customer first, right? We have all these great logos and slogans for it. What happens is people hear that and they think, I already have enough to do, right? I already have enough to do because this is not my job. This is not what I was hired to do. So they think about it as something in addition to their job. But the organizations that do this well have alignment from the very beginning of the employee experience. So that very beginning, before they get the job, if they get the job, all of those things, all the way through to every single role that they play, every single task that they have, they think about the customer experience and they know what's expected of them.
There's a symbiotic relationship between employee and customer experience, where improvements in one directly enhance the other.
When we improve employee experience, it improves customer experience. But here's the other part that sometimes we don't think about. When customer experience gets better, the employee experience gets better. Nobody wants to work in an organization where they're getting plenty of complaints, where we are experiencing things that don't feel right for customers. I actually was working with an organization and asked individually the people who were involved in the customer journey mapping session, I said, would you refer somebody to work here? And most of them said no. Even though they believed in the customer experience, they couldn't really, they knew that they were getting better at it. They said at this point, no, because it's too hard. The customers are too hard. We don't have our journey figured out. And so these sides go together in ways that are pretty spectacular. Engaged employees see 20% higher sales and 21% higher profitability. And that going back to that question of would you refer somebody to be here? Referred job candidates tend to stay longer and have a higher job satisfaction rate compared to candidates from other sources. Now, this is data from Zippia, and they said that referred hires tend to stay 70% longer than other employees. Every single organization is dealing with turnover, is dealing with employee churn. And so this is really about something that every single organization needs to think about.
Your customer experience mission statement can play a pivotal role in guiding employees toward a unified vision. These statements define organizational identity and empower teams to make decisions that resonate with customers, fostering lasting relationships and loyalty.
A customer experience mission statement is there to guide your employees. It's there to make sure that everybody understands who we are. Remember, I talked about that organization that was all about being fast? Sometimes we have to make trade-offs and we have to declare who we are. We can't always be the fastest and the most accurate. So we have to decide who we are and put that out into the world through this mission statement. The mission statement will also be there to really help your employees with those judgment calls, even inside the organization. If we're committed to being fast in our responses, that means that's how we show up for one another. And then if we are fast with those responses inside our organization, guess who benefits? The customers. Because usually we are trying to solve a problem. We are trying to make something better. Even if it's on the inside of the organization, even if it's a technology or tool or process, all of that is so we can deliver more for customers. So if we are not living up to the promise that we're making outside the organization, inside the organization, then we are going to feel that misalignment. We're going to miss opportunities to have employees refer others who are more apt to stay with us longer. We're going to miss opportunities to serve customers by solving problems before they happen. But a mindset is not enough.
There's a crucial difference between fostering a customer-centric mindset and developing a strategic approach to customer experience.
This is what I was talking about before when, I say people have big town hall events and they say, we're customer first. We are customer-centric now. Saying it is not enough. We have to turn it into a strategy just like any other part of the business. Now, can you imagine a world where we have a sales team and maybe they didn't have a great quarter? And so somebody says, well, I guess sales doesn't work. We're going to get rid of the sales team, right? That would be crazy because we all know that sales is part of how you run a business, how you actually do business. Customer experience is the same. We need to dedicate some amount of focus and vision and resources to make sure that we are actually defining what success looks like. Saying we're going to be customer-centric is not a goal. Saying we're going to be customer-centric and we expect all of our employees to deliver a great customer experience does not give them enough information of what success looks like. So by strategy, we need to define success tied to your organizational goals. Yes, we want happy customers. Yes, we want higher employee feedback and customer feedback scores. But the scores are a measurement. They are not a goal. The goal is something for your organization, an outcome. So maybe in the employee experience world, maybe we want lower turnover. Maybe we want to make sure that people stay with us longer, that we don't have to invest so much in hiring and interviewing and all of those things. Maybe we want to make sure that people are able to see their future at our organization and see how they can really contribute long term. Maybe we want to make sure that they understand their role in the customer experience because we know that will lead to better customer experiences. So we need to get clear about what that is.
This brings us to Jeannie's biggest takeaway from this discussion. Cross-collaboration is critical in customer experience initiatives. And it's one that impacts business outcomes. From crafting a CX charter to leveraging tools like IKEA's sustainability efforts, she delves into the actionable steps needed to transform customer-centric aspirations into tangible, impactful strategies embraced by every member of the organization.
We have to create cross-collaboration. CX teams that collaborate cross-functionally are 27% more likely to have a high or very high return on investment. This is why it's important. It's not just about making people feel good and aligned. This actually produces real business results for your organization. So we have the mindset, we have the strategy. Now what? Well, we need to turn this into an active business discipline, something we do every day, something people understand as part of their role. Accountabilities, who's doing what? We often tell people, just like I said before, that this is something that they just should do. Just focus on the customer experience. But if we don't align everything, if we don't have that mindset with the mission statement, if we haven't defined success with the strategy, then how do we know what they're doing every day and if it's contributing to the successful outcomes that we all want? So a CX charter is something we use to really outline who's doing what for whom, when. And this is straight out of project management best practices, but really this is about defining if this is the promise we've made, how do we actually deliver on it for our people? And how do we actually give our employees the right tools, goals, understanding, accountability around it so that it feels real, so that it's something that we're all working towards, not just something that we're talking about. We need to leverage tools. So another great example is IKEA. IKEA has a really wonderful vision for their organization to create a better everyday life for the many people. So essentially, it's not just about furniture or their stores or their Swedish meatballs. This is about, we are trying to do something bigger. And then they took that a step further and said that, they really want to have a positive impact on the world. So a few years ago, they really decided to focus on sustainability. And they were completely transparent about what they're trying to do. So you can find, this is public, overview of their ambition and commitments. They want to make sure they have a circular and climate positive experience. So I don't know about you, but if you've ever put together something from IKEA and then tried to take it apart, it can be very challenging. One of the things they've been doing, according to this, is actually create things that are easier to take apart so that they can be easier to sell and move, et cetera. So they are really committed to this. But what does this mean for employees? Well, I just pulled this from Glassdoor. So you can see that everything is lining up here. They say they make sure you're confident in your ability to deliver exceptional service. So everything comes together because there is no customer experience group only focusing on customer experience and employee experience over here. They literally look at it as not just for their employees and customers, but also for their suppliers and partners and just how they show up in the world. And I think that's really the standard that we all want to get to. How can we show up in the world the same way for our employees, customers, and everyone else?
So let's bring it all together. Jeannie leaves us with 3 key intersections where mission, outcomes, and actionable strategies converge in the realm of customer and employee experience.
Connect with your mission. Discuss outcomes, not magic. It's not enough to say just deliver. And then 3 touch points where these things definitely meet. First impressions, the candidate experience, listening, employee feedback, and then working through change. So candidate experience is so important. And it starts when you're actually attracting people. So if you have that customer experience mission, put it in your job postings. You will start finding people who really align with that from the beginning. So the whole candidate experience is so important. Interviewing, make sure we're setting those customer-centric expectations from the first interview. How will you consider the customer in the decisions you make? How will you dedicate yourself to ongoing learning? And then what is the impact that you believe this role will have on our customers? If they know that from the beginning, if they know this is a priority, then you're going to find that alignment earlier in the process and throughout. And then again, we want to make sure that onboarding is for everybody, but we also want to continue that CX training as well. So employee feedback. Many of you probably run those employee engagement surveys. Getting the feedback is not the goal. And sometimes what I see is that they're very proud, organizations are very proud that they have a survey every year and they get engagement on that survey. But then nothing happens. They don't report out. They don't feel heard. So employees start kind of phoning it in because They recognize that, you know what, I can tell you whatever I want on the survey and nothing's going to happen. Just like customer feedback, we have to close the loop with employees. We have to make sure that they understand how their specific feedback is making the organization better for both customers and employees. If you had a magic wand, how would you improve the experience for customers? Such a great question to ask your employees because they have ideas. They want to be heard. They want to innovate. We have to give them permission to do so. And then employee journey mapping is a great way to involve people. So by actually going through the journey mapping exercise, you can bring in all sorts of different employees who have different experiences who can share with you exactly what's happening and help you improve the experience. That is a great form of employee engagement by including them in that process and letting them know how important it is to hear their voice directly. And then finally, this is a changing world. I totally recognize that. We have to help people feel like they can adapt quickly. And being agile, sometimes what that means is that there will be missteps. We have to give people permission to have those missteps, but also say, we want to hear from you. What are you seeing in the marketplace? What are you seeing in your environment that you think would help us stay ahead? Going back to that Carvana example of we need to zag forward with innovation. And then I just want to leave you with this. When things are not aligned, things happen quickly and usually not what we expect. So think about how can you create that alignment? How can you focus on a mindset, strategy, and discipline that will show up every day and help you show up in the world exactly who you are every time?
Jeannie emphasized the significance of aligning the why of our business with the customer experience and everyone's role within the organization. She highlighted how this alignment elevates employee and customer satisfaction, leading to better outcomes and a more fulfilling work environment. Now, let's distill Jeannie's insights into 3 key takeaways that you can implement at your organization. First, connect with your mission. Craft a customer experience mission statement that guides employees toward a unified vision. Make sure that it defines who you are as an organization and empowers teams to make impactful decisions aligned with customer-centric values. Second, discuss outcomes, not magic. Transform customer-centric aspirations into tangible, measurable strategies. Define success tied to your organizational goals, guaranteeing that every employee understands their role in delivering exceptional customer experiences. And lastly, create touch points of alignment. Focus on 3 crucial intersections where mission, outcomes, and actionable strategies converge. These include the candidate's experience. Infuse customer-centric values into your recruitment process to attract candidates who align with your mission from the beginning. Also, listen to employee feedback. Close the loop with employees by actively seeking feedback, reporting back on actions taken, and involving them in the continuous improvement process. And adapt to change. Foster a culture of agility and innovation where employees feel empowered to adapt quickly and contribute ideas for staying ahead in a changing world. By implementing these key takeaways, you can foster a culture of continuous improvement, drive meaningful organizational transformation, and ultimately deliver exceptional experiences for employees and customers. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode of the People Fundamentals podcast. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube Music. And if you like what you hear, share us with your friends and colleagues. We'll see you again soon.